Hi, I'm Soft Servo still, and I think the resources available for the OPZ Photomatic are not good enough. So, I'm going to talk about how I'm going to use it. I have a live show coming up in a couple of weeks, and I want to use Photomatic for my visual aspect. The idea is that I'm going to use OPZ for the song audio part of it, or most of it, and then I'm going to have that running into, or my iPad running into a projector and project images up on the wall while I'm playing through Photomatic. Getting the HDMI connection to work the way that the documentation describes, which is essentially magic, was kind of an adventure. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And yeah, I'm super awkward, so let's go to hands on a table now. Alright, so here we are with the OPZ and the iPad, and I've already got Photomatic pulled up. When you pull up Photomatic on the app, it's going to automatically switch this to the visual track right here, which operates both the Unity Videomatic and the Photomatic, whatever they call the video thing. What do they call the video thing? Motion. They call it Motion. I've got in here loaded up a bunch of pictures of a creepy statue, and I've edited them all differently, and the idea is that they'll cycle through when I play this. Of course, I haven't put in a sequence for the photos yet, because I was going to demonstrate how to do that. So you can do that the same way you do everything on the OPZ. So you can hold record and just play them in. You can also, it doesn't have to be stopped to do this, but you press which photo you want. These buttons here will cycle through the photos. You press a button, you press a step, and boom, you're rolling. Now these will come through perfectly on beat. So that's how that works. Once you have a sequence in there, I'll put a couple more doodads in here. So once you have that, you can use these knobs to adjust how things work. So this adjusts the color balance for all of these. This one adjusts the color saturation. This one is light and dark, and then this one is contrast. And of course you have your green indicator lights to show when you're in the middle, and you're back to normal. This can be sequenced just like anything else. Something I've noticed is that the live tweaking trick does not work. So when you hold shift, it cycles through these other colors, but as far as I can tell, they don't do anything. And if they do something and you know what that is, then tell me, because I'd love to know. If you hold shift and press these buttons, you get different effects. These will go backwards. These will go to the next picture. The X2 goes to a random photo. Let's see, and then you have, I think this goes back to the first photo. You have negative, flip horizontal, flip vertical, zoom in, get really bright, get really dark, and then these kill different channels of the colors, but I don't remember which. I think this is really high contrast, and then these kill colors. When you're holding shift and using the effects, they can be recorded when you're playing a sequence, but they cannot be programmed outside. Like when you're stopped, you can't punch in what step you want each effect to come in on. That's one of a couple of ways where these don't behave like the other OPZ sequences. There are no step components for the Photomatic sequences. You can control the length of the sequence, make it longer or shorter, but you don't get step components. There's no way to do anything that resembles how you might perform with mute groups and things like that. You can hold shift and use the number keys to go back and forth between different photo rolls in the middle of everything, which is kind of neat. I only have 2 photo rolls, but I can shift back and forth between them by using these buttons and go back and forth between a plastic horse and the face of American icon Patrick Henry. Coffee. Another way the Photomatic sequence is different from the rest is that the sequence stays consistent throughout the entire project. So you can have different sequences for all the music parts in different projects and have a whole set or 2 or 3 songs in one project, but the Videomatic, Photomatic motion sequence remains static through the entire project. It will not switch to different photo rolls when you switch to different patterns or anything like that. It's the exact same thing no matter what you do. Let's talk about the HDMI thing. So you can hook this iPad or any iPad to an HDMI, and then it will project the just the picture, not the roll to or any of these buttons here, onto an external screen. In order to do that, you have to have an HDMI to Lightning adapter. I have 2 of them, and this is one of the things that I think is worth mentioning. I thought I could save a few bucks and buy a knockoff one from Amazon. So here it is. It looks absolutely identical to the Apple branded one, with some minor differences when you really look closely at them. But this does not really work. What it does is it will mirror what's on the screen exactly, but there will be lag, so the pictures won't change exactly on beat. The OPZ battery level and roll to and everything still shows up on that screen. Everything that's on the screen does, and it doesn't change the aspect ratio. It does that appropriately when you use the official Apple adapter. I don't really understand, I don't know on a technical level why they're different, but they are on a technical level different. So I'm going to show that just because in conversations I've had with people on the internet, I seem to have a hard time making that clear, but I feel like I'm not going to be the only guy who thinks that this is an overpriced bit and that we should be able to save half of our money by buying a cheap one. But you can't. This doesn't even work with Amazon. So if your mileage may vary, but this was my experience. So first I thought we would unmask the face of bitter disappointment. This is what it should not look like. Oh, there's my dog again. Yes, you're a good boy. You will be able to tell that the picture on the iPad jumps in time with the music, but the picture on the TV lags behind. Pretty clear. You can also see that there is some, well, you may not be able to see because this looks like hot garbage, but the resolution isn't right. The bottom of the screen here is clipped off where you have the black bar. It says roll to. It shows that my OPZ only has 30% battery left, which means I better hurry the fuck up. It's got this circle with the number of the photo that's currently being shown is still there. And if I tap it to do anything, you can see that on this screen you still have the roll button, the camera button, and all of that. So if I go to this, hit that, it's showing now here. Flip. Here's what the rest of my basement looks like. Ew, and my hairy arm. It's not supposed to do this. Let's change it around now, and I'll show you what it's supposed to do if you buy the expensive Apple thing. Okay, so I switched the adapters around, and now you can see, or maybe you can't, that it fills up the entire screen and it matches the resolution of the TV. When you press these buttons, it jumps like it would otherwise, but with less lag. This is still on the camera mode. I can scroll through the pictures on the iPad, but the camera is still up here. And if I were to snap, it now replaces picture 5 with whatever I had. You can also see that the UI interface buttons are not there. And if I turn the camera off, this just stays black and shows me the buttons, but the pictures still show up on the screen. If I press play, you can see that it's considerably better with moving to the beat of the music. Yeah, that's really it. So if you've bought an adapter and it looks like the first piece of trash and not like the second piece of trash, then you've got a piece of trash. If you bought the official Apple adapter and you're still having these problems, I don't know the answers. That's above my pay grade. But this worked for me, and I don't want other people to get screwed by some evil company hawking cheap things as well. I should also point out that that other thing that I threw across the room didn't work for YouTube or Netflix either, so it wasn't good for anything. It was literally just a dud. But I feel like varying qualities of product may yield varying results. And you probably have to buy the official Apple adapter. I hope this clears up some questions for somebody, and I appreciate the time that you have invested in me. Thanks for watching my little video. Subscribe, or don't. Smash that like button, or don't. I really could care less.